Hello everyone. In this video, we will try to create the AI plugins in the Semantic kernel and we will see the demo of that. But before we proceed to create the AI plugin, this is the site which gives the high level information about the AI plugins and how to create it. So this is the overview, what is plugin and what does the plugin look like, how it behaves, those things. And basically plugins are here two types: native functions, another is the prompt base here. Now you can go through this page and you can read the details. In the below in this page there is a link: create the plugin with the native function. This is the page for that, and I am referring this page for the demo. So it has some code snippet which I'm going to use in the demo. So I'm going to refer this example method or plugin, but exactly I will not write this code. I will write my own CS files, and that inside that some function, very minimum details with the function, and that will try to execute it. So but the structure of executing the logic will be the similar how we are seeing here in this example. So let's proceed to the Visual Studio and change it. As per our last video, we have developed the this solution. In this project we have added two logic as of now. One is doing the normal chat completion, another is the semantic kernel search chat completion. So here we will be writing the another method which is using the semantic kernel with the plugin, and here we will write the plugin files, and we'll do that one. So as per that, let's proceed with the demo here. So here I'm going to first create the plugin function: private static async task. It will be a string, and it is semantic kernel with AI plugin, and it have the string as user input. Okay. Now basic setup of the details of the variable model and API endpoint and the key, it is same as I am taking it from the app.config, so I'm just keeping here. Then initializing the kernel, it is bit different. If you see the code here in the beginning, the kernel is getting initialized like this. Here is the code for that. So first we build the builder, and this is the builder statement, and then we are having the plugin and we add the plugin here. So we first will get the builder, then we'll get the plugin files here. Okay, so for that I'm going to create the builder here first, where builder equals to kernel dot create builder and dot add Azure open chat completion. And then basically the logic is same using the chat completion, the deployment name and the endpoint and this thing. So just copy this code here and pasting here. Okay, and here we'll not build it. Before the build, we build the kernel. Before we run this build function inside this one, we have to initialize the we have to set the plugin here. So let's create the plugin folder and then plugin code for that. So going to add the new folder here. I'm going to name this as a plugins, and here I will add the new CS file, and going to give the details about DNLB details. It will be very high level. If you want like basically in a real-time project application, you will have particular class name of the particular job or functionality you want to achieve. So that file name you have to give here. Okay, and also you have to make sure this class should be public. If it is internal or any other, then this might not accept when we add in the plugin, when in the plugin statement here like this, it will not accept the without public class here. So this method dot plugin example is here. So for that, inside this public class DNW details, we have to add the kernel function, but before that let's add the using a statement. So Microsoft dot semantic kernel and using Microsoft dot semantic kernel dot chat completion. Okay, and here I'm going to add the function. So it is public async task, it is a string, and going to get DNLB details. Okay, and it will, we can write something like console dot write line, and we can write the plugin. It is plugin is saying something here, so the DNLB details, DNLB full form is something like that. Form is .NET little boy. Okay, so basically what will happen here is, if any function when you write under the kernel function, you will try to execute some logic, and this logic will be running automatically. So this is something your some extra, what we call that, some automation AI logic you want to run, or when the semantic kernel automatically decides to run it. So that logic of the functionality you will be running it. Example, when I try to like create a new contact, something like that, so I can pass the details of the contact here, and I can write the logic to connect to the dynamics, and then set the contact details, and then create the contact using the CRM service. So like those things you can do here. So here just I'm not writing that piece of code, just I wanted to show you how the automation automatically it will trigger this particular function here. And also I can have the return statement here, so it is the same statement I'm going to keep. Okay, so here this function is still not kernel function. We have to decorate it as a kernel function using the attribute kernel function, and then if we can describe it, so description is get the DNLB details. Okay, we can add the another kernel function here, so public async task string, and then get DNLB address, something like that. Okay, and this one also we can write console dot write line, and it is plugin is saying something here, so the address of DNLB is Asia India, and we can write return this here, same statement. The address of DNLB is Asia India. Okay, so this function also we will decorate as a kernel function, and description as get the DNLB address. You can describe like what this function is there doing, those things you can put into a description, so that kernel will understand in better way. When you have more description, the description is better, than it understand the better way. And also you can have the return statement, return description also, like what this function is running, so those details also you can set here. If you have the input argument, you can put into the input argument, and you can describe what is the purpose of this input argument, so like that. So this descriptions helps to understand this kernel function to what to execute and decide it. So this is where it will help. So currently I have created the two kernel function here, get the DNLB details and get the DNLB address. So it's just returning this statement from here. So in the main program here, in that we'll add the builder dot plugins dot add from type here. So we are having the type, and then we have the plugin folders dot DNLB details. Okay, now we will get the builder here. So sorry, we will get the semantic kernel here. Semantic kernel equals builder dot build. Okay, now the kernel is created. Now let's extract the chat completion service from here. So where chat completion service equals semantic kernel dot get required service, and it is of type iChat completion service. Okay, and now we will set the we'll create the execution openai prompt execution settings. So prompt execution settings equals new openai prompt execution settings, and here we can set the temperature equals to 0, and then we are having one more feature called tool called behavior, so that is equals to tool called behavior. Now here we can have the different options. So in the demo we will be taking example of the auto invoke kernel function. So what will happen, the when the semantic kernel gets the user input, and it automatically decides which function, kernel function, to execute. So that is why it automatically invocation will be there, but it will not return you the which function it has executed. So automatically it executes, and then it continues the remaining logic what you write in the main. And the once the kernel function is executed, the kernel function will be doing its own job, and whatever the logic you have written, it will done the logic, and then it will, if you have some return a statement, then it will come the return to the main logic, something like that. So here I'm going to set this as a auto invocation kernel function, and then we'll create the chat history. So chat history history equals new chat history, and inside the history we'll add the user message, and that is the user input. Okay, now it is created. Now let's do the chat completion, how we are having the chat completion in the above. So I'll just copy this to line here from the previous function and paste here, and here we can do the chat completion. This is the service name, so I'll just copy and paste. You can have the one of the way of calling the chat completion this way, otherwise you can specify something like this. So it will have the execution setting. You can see execution setting, you can pass the prompt execution setting, then we are having the kernel, then you can pass the semantic kernel. So this is another way of doing the chat completion. You can the arguments when you pass to this method, define it, and we have the response. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the breakpoints into this function, so that will decide when you search the query related to that, if it is hitting that breakpoint, which means kernel has automatically decided to execute this kernel functions. Okay, so I think our code is ready now. Let's before that we have to call this function into the main logic. So this is the entry point of the this program. Here instead of calling this one, we'll call our function. So where response equals await and user input. Okay, I'll just comment the above line. Okay, done. So now we have called this our main logic, and inside that we have initialized the variable, we have built the kernel, we have added the plugin, and then we have initialized the chat service and the execution setting, which is having temperature 0, and call behavior. Currently it is invoking automatically. Kernel will automatically decide which function to execute based on the user input, and then the user input we are passing into the chat completion service, and execution settings are and the kernel is also passed here, and the response we are returning. So basically now what will happen when we do the any user query we ask, at the point of this one chat completion, kernel will execute the logic, and it will go to the plugin, and then it will hit the logic to execute it. Once these plugins are executed, it will come back again, and it will try to do the chat completion on the user input what we have asked, so that it will try to run on that input. If it finds the very valid answers, then it will give you the response here. If not, then it might ask you to provide the more details. So let's run it here and check it. So I'm going to ask here get, the function name here is get DNLB details. So I'm going to ask at a very high level, get DNLB details. Okay, I'm just asking this one. Then okay, now you can see it has automatically decided to call this one, and then the my plugin is now executing. So this plugin, okay, if I continue now further, it execute. You can see plugin has given me the output. It has completed the job. Now it is asking one more thing. So whatever the query I have asked, the chat completion did not find the required output for that. So now it is asking me for the more details. So to avoid that, there is a like we are not currently we are not able to decide which kernel function it has executed. Okay, so if to do that, instead of invoking automatically, basically if your logic demands like I can invoke the kernel function automatically and then job can be done, you can keep this kernel function as an automatic invocation. But there is another way we can do that. So here I'm going to show you that here. So we can do these changes here, enable the kernel function. And now this, when you do the enable of the kernel function, now when you do the chat completion here on this response, the kernel will decide which function to execute, and it will give you the, we can extract that function name from the response here what we get. So let's extract that one. So here we can do like this. So where uh, function calls equals, for we are having the chat response, right? Variable is chat response, and we have to cast it into the another format which is openai chat message content, and inside this message content we have the tool get openai tool function call. So which function it has called, we'll get the list of that one, so we'll convert to list. So now basically what we did is the content what we get from here, the semantic kernel what is trying to execute on my user input, it is getting into the response, and from this response I'm taking the function call, and then this function call will have the list here. Now inside the list we can run the for each loop. So where call in, or we can make it as a function call or AI call, AI okay, also okay, semantic kernel function call in function calls. Okay, and here we can check, and now we can check the name of the function call. So dot function name, if it is equals to, now if it is equals to this one, my function name is this one, then I can copy this one and check it here. The function of this one, now I can now I know that this semantic kernel has tried to execute my this function. Now I have the control, like this is function is going to execute on my user inputs. I can ask my I can explicitly invoke it. So for that I'm going to do that one. So we are having the semantic kernel dot plugins dot try function and argument. Here we'll pass the function call here, then out a kernel function, and we can give this name as a plugin function, and then we are having the out kernel argument. So arguments here, and then this is arguments. Okay, we can get this output from kernel, and then if you want to set some value into the argument, you can do that, like arguments dot add, and then here you can add the key that is equal something, like suppose you are having name, then you can add it as a something dnlb, some name you can include here. Okay, and then you can invoke it. So semantic kernel, so semantic kernel where sorry, one more here, where response equals to semantic kernel dot invoke async here, and then you can see it is asking the kernel function name and arguments. So if here there is another overload method which is the plugin name, function name, and something like that, so argument. So there is a different way of calling this one based on your type of arguments you have. So here I'm just going to give the plugin function name here. So here the plugin function name, and then arguments we can pass here which we have created. Now this will be a response here, so we can return this response to a string. Okay, so now if suppose everything, if this is not coming here, if this function is this one, else I can have the another, right? If suppose if we have another is else if sk kernel function dot function name, if it is equals to this function name below one, the address one, then I will I will execute the same way. So here you can have you can implement this logic into different way, the way you want to implement. So you can, because for each type of logic you will have the different uh, you will have the different way of passing the argument, because one type of kernel function will be executing one different argument, and this kernel function will expect the different argument here, right? So based on that you can decide it and what to return, and if it is nothing here, then we will return the content what we are getting from chat completion. So we are having the content from chat completion, we will return it. So I hope this all the statement is returning fine. Okay, this is not returning. Otherwise we can remove this one and we can return from here this outside the for loop here, or we can remove this one. So what we are doing now, we have from the chat response we have tried to get the function calls, like basically it will execute only one call, so that loop we will go through that, and then we are checking which function it has, the kernel function has tried to execute it. If you find that name, then I will try to explicitly call it, I will invoke myself on that function and do the output, or I will whatever the function is trying to do, I will try to perform that. If it is not found that any function name, then it will go to the default logic, like the normal search we do, right, chat completion, that it will do. So let's check it if it is working. So let's start again. Okay, so I'm going to call get dnlb details. So now it has came here, and now I will continue here. Now you can see assistant. Okay, this output is coming here like that, kernel function dot result. So it's coming, like you can see the it is not executing, it's not going to that further now. So if I go result dot to a string, okay, let's try this, get dnlb details. Okay, came here. Okay, so now you can see it has executed this method, get env details. It write the logic console one, and then it has returned this one, and this return a statement. We came here and we got here and we returned from here. So now it did not perform the chat completion further. So if you want to perform the chat completion, you can search like something which is not related to the name of our any of the plugins. So something like what is the capital of India. So I do not have any plugin which may try to execute the plugin here, right, with this query. So it will do the normal chat completion. Let's do that. Now you can see the normal chat completion happen, it did not trigger the plugin here. So like this you can build it, your logic in the application. There is one more thing we can do, we can pass the argument and we can call the plugin with the passing the argument. So we can create another function here, something like uh, public sync, and that is task, and I'll just going to return a string and get dnlb company details. Okay, here I will take the argument here, which is I'll just description, it will be the company name, and here I will pass the string name as company. Okay, and inside this function we'll write the console dot write line, and it will be from the plugin, and the company name is the argument which we have get. Okay, okay, and now we will return it. So same statement we will try to return. Okay, so now this function we can call explicitly if you want to, using the main one. So how we can do is, let's take example. Before we do this return, let's call it. So here I'm going to call that one. So we have we can call it, so we are having semantic kernel dot invoke uh, sync, and here you can see we are having different overload method with argument, and here I am going to pass the plugin name. So which is the plugin name? Main class file name is this one, so I'll just call this plugin name here. Then we have the one more thing here. I think I forgot to decorate this kernel function, so I'll just decorate it. Kernel function and description, get the company details. Okay, so now this is the my function name, so I'll just copy the next parameter here, company name, and next is, you can see the argument. So it is new kernel arguments, and here we can pass the argument name, which is nothing but this is the argument. So we have to make sure that whatever the argument name we are passing here, the same name we have to set here, and you can set the value of this argument as a something DNLB. Okay, done. Where result equals to, and we can make it as a weight, and then we can return from here result dot result to a string. We can return. Let's try this way. Okay, so basically we are trying to do the same thing what we have done here, but here this time we are setting the argument. You can initialize the argument. This argument will, what we set here, it will be passed to this one. So let's add the breakpoint and try to see if that will execute here. So I'll go to the main. So once, okay, so it is already defined, so result, okay, and then here, okay, so here we are having the result, and now we will try to log that one. But just in this call, basically what I want to show you here is that we can call the plugin function by passing the argument, any multiple arguments. You can define the multiple argument into this argument object, and you can set it. So it could be your dynamic value here in the in your application. So let's check if it is getting triggered. So I will ask any generic question, because I do not want to ask any this related, because after for outside the for each loop we are having this statement execution. It should come here. So I'm going to ask, what is the capital of India, and it should come to the, yeah, you can see it came to the this kernel function, and the value of this is DNLB what we have passed, and like that it will, if you continue now, if you see the plugin, the company name is DNLB, it has returned whatever we are doing. So like that you can develop your application. I hope this video was useful to you, and you learned something as a beginner in the semantic kernel and the AI plugin, and I and wish you all the best, and thank you for watching this video, guys.